So we're the cast and director of part of it of Coffee Grapefruit Cacao. I'm Dominique, the director.
I'm Adrian Lestrat, the actor.
And I'm Nanou Harry. I'm performing Gaëlle in the film.
Uh, this is. I'm not sure that there are any emotions that you left out of this short film. I think you took me through the full range of emotions in a matter of minutes, and we go from laughing to really tense. uh, so
Yeah.
tell me about that finding that emotional balance.
Um, I think we all agreed that it was a comedy. However, we wanted it to have some depth. I think that's what's well the work of Dominique is pretty much on that, on finding depth about lots of things. It's quite detailed, and so at the beginning when we were first doing, because we did quite a lot of rehearsals for the film, but when we started it, one of the trouble we came up we had to confront was the fact that the scene was kind of repeating, but it had to be different from moment to moment, because in the end it's all about okay, we're going to have to do that, but we don't really want to do it. So how do you change this yes no thing, which is pretty black and white, to something that has more variation, and yeah, find moment to moment what it is that is okay, I've agreed to that, but now what am I still reluctant to, and how do I move from point to point up to finding that actually, well, I'm going to become a mummy. I didn't even think about that.
Not about the being the mommy, nor about how do we actually, what are the actual steps in getting there. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's an important thing for comedies, anyways, because when you try to make it funny, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's funny for the characters. And
right.
I think while creating this film, we put the characters in situations that are really really complicated. As much as for Samuel, as for Letizia, as for Gaëlle. So the comedy comes from that in the end, but it's quite horrible for the characters to go through. As I mean, they're driven by love, and which makes them, which gives them the power to go through it. But it's not easy on all three of them. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of hard things to get through.
Yeah, but when we were shooting it, at some point I was thinking, oh my God, what an awful situation it must be for Samuel to be to move the knife in the wound like this, because it's a bit like a year and a half after their breakup, and now he's going back there, and she knows the buttons to push relieve to respark the love or something. And it's an awful feeling, because I had quite the similar experience, and it's weird to get those people back in your life. They still got leverage on you somehow.
Absolutely. We should talk about the character that we see Samuel with first, and then revisit in the middle of the movie, and then at the end. And I'm just going to be honest, I have no idea how to phrase that in a question. But as I say, the folks have already seen it, so we don't have to worry about spoilers. But tell me what's going on in that relationship.
I mean, for me, well, first of all, I absolutely wanted Esther, the actress, to be in the movie. So at first, there were a couple of other versions where this character didn't exist, but the script was missing something, and I was trying to find a way to put her into the movie, because we worked together for my last films. She was in every one of them, last 6 films. So I knew that I had to somehow find a way to put her into the film. And then eventually I came up with that idea that wouldn't it be interesting to have the perspective of Samuel, what it means to be not a father in that story, but just the sperm donor at the end of the day, and what he's questioning about that. And it was a way to so we can understand that without having to do a voiceover or anything, to have him talk to his actual daughter that he imagines she could be, while she's already at an adult age, so they can talk about it. So yeah, it was a way to get deeper inside Samuel, because I knew that, well, we won't see a lot of that while he's inside the house with Letizia and Gaëlle, but because that's the moment where, well, they just have to get through with it, and he can't share what his problems might be with the situation. So yeah, that was pretty much the idea behind that.
Well, in that sequence in the middle, Adrian, when she appears outside the bathroom window, I think it is. I'm just going to check my notes here. The line that really got me was, "What am I for you?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, I mean, maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but I didn't know who she was.
Well, many viewers that saw the movie were asking themselves, okay, so in the beginning they were thinking, oh, she must be his girlfriend, but the girlfriend is pushing him to have sex with his ex. So it's in a way, and he says he didn't have sex with nobody except boys since then. So is he lying, or is there something that is not feature it's shown in the movie?
Yeah.
And then having her, what was I saying?
The collaboration. I see how this works. Yeah.
And a lot of people weren't sure what she's supposed to, but it was the idea from the beginning that you don't really know who she is, and that we give some clues, but that you can misinterpret, and that you can only understand in the end who she really is.
And it's a weird thing to play that feeling of being a father without being a father. It's interesting. It's challenging to try to convey it. Actually,
absolutely. Nanou, I was a language teacher, and so this is for both you and Dominique. The phrase that will stick with me until my grave is the line you deliver in which you say, "Dick garage." That magnificent phrase. I know you didn't write it, but you delivered it so beautifully.
Oh, okay.
Born.
Well, thank you very much, because actually I that's one of the sentence where every time I hear it, I'm just like, oh, did I say that? How did that come out of my mouth? And I didn't even know this expression before meeting Dominique and the script, I think. So yeah. So
well, you see how art can broaden one's mind and perspectives with this. We've all learned a little something, and that's good.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, it was a way to finding something like, how are they making fun of each other, and to find an equivalent to an insult that you can really appropriate in a good way. So like Letizia is using dyke. I had to find an equivalent for as an insult for a bisexual woman or a heterosexual woman. So
But yeah, it's a way to also um, separate the kind of humor they
Exactly.
use as a couple.
Yeah.
They have different ways of approaching. Hi, Cat. They have different ways
This
of
is,
approaching.
this is
Oh,
Newt. Sorry.
hello, Newt.
Uh,
They have different ways of approaching
Exactly.
humor as something
Yeah.
cohesive.
Well, Dominique, you were saying the notion of comedy on the screen is not necessarily comedic for the characters. The moment when you two bond over sports was hysterical, and it was exactly the beat that was needed. But I just kept thinking about Letitia's, at that point, it's like she's been left out entirely as you guys debate.
Yeah. It's probably the worst moment to be bonding, I think.
Yes, exactly. But in terms of comedy, it works really well. Let me ask you respectfully about the nudity, about working that intimately with each other, the three of you. Because again, you are vulnerable and you go through this range of emotions. Is that difficult? Is that just another day at the office?
It wasn't just another day at the office, because, well, as for me, for example, it was my first intimate scene in a movie, but I was very lucky that it was with Dominique. Thank you. Because it became a little bit like another day at work, because we rehearsed it, and Dominique was very sensitive in his way. We rehearsed it with Laura, and left the two of us find our way to be together and to be in bed together. We kept the being together in bed with Samuel apart. So Laetitia, Laura had a moment found a connection with Samuel, and I found my connection with Laura, but we didn't. The two of us didn't meet because we wanted to keep that for the movie, of course. But but we discussed it a lot, and I think we trained a lot on it. We found our way of our bodies being together. And we were it was very gentle. So it was very nice to have as a first experience. It was very nice. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you. But it was a pleasure to work with the three of them, because I never had that much time with my actors before, because usually for film, you never have a budget for that, so it's never possible. But I had three incredible actors who said, well, we want to put the time in there because we realize how important it is. Because what you said, Nanou, the rehearsals that were only there at one point just to find what the couple looks like. We didn't do too much with Adrian and Laura, who plays Laetitia, because they had to find something again, and they weren't supposed to work that well together. But it was really important that Gaëlle and Laetitia, you believe that they are a couple, and that they have their way of making love, which is always we never make love the same way with another person. That was really important, and that the couple works well, because the last thing that I wanted to tell, the last story that I wanted to tell, is would have been a story where it says, oh, she's actually better with her ex, and so she's getting back together with the guy. So that would have been horrible. So we really had to make sure that was right. And then when we had found the way they are making love, and how they are laughing, how they spend their time, then we went into the actual choreographing of the scene, because that's something that is really important to me. I know that there are other directors that work differently, but for me, really, a scene like this has to be choreographed so that everybody knows what's going to happen, and how it's going to happen, and that there's not a hand that is slipping somewhere where it's not supposed to. Yeah, that's really, really important. So we rehearsed that as well with clothes on, to make sure that the whole scene is staged, so that everybody feels comfortable in the scene. Yeah.
Adrian, in your experience of that intimacy?
Oh well, we had shot a scene, an intimate scene in his previous film, so it was that was my first experience, and it was a more rough scene. So somehow this was the nudity or the aspect of nudity that could make me afraid, could scare me before, was already gone with the film before. But then this was really we always wore underwear except for one shot, the last shot of the sequence, when and then it was really respectful. Always, everybody in the crew was always really, really respectful. I remember the DOP giving us a blanket between the takes to cover ourselves, so we were not cold and not exposed. And yeah, I think it's I try to take it as a part of the life and the emotional life of a character. We always tend to avoid those spaces, but I think sometimes can be really interesting to dive into it.
I precise just that the reason why it was the DOP who gave us the blanket is because it was set since the beginning that it needed to be a very small team, in a very small crew in the scene, in the set for this.
So
scene.
that's
So there was just
another
the
rule.
DOP director, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another rule, that nobody's for a scene like this. Nobody's on set except the people that absolutely have to be there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's closed set. That's what we call it. Yeah.
It sounds as if a lot of care and attention went into the safety. I mean, it is really the word, the safety of your actors. The cat has just jumped off the table. Anything I forgot to ask? Where I'm looking at the clock here, but and we're gonna have to cut this. But is there anything I forgot to ask that you want to tell folks?
Please get in touch with us if you want to share what you think about the film. If you have any questions or whatever feedback, we're always happy to talk with you guys. So let us know. You can contact us via Instagram or Facebook. You have the names here, and I'm sure that the festival anyway will put the names on the post. I've already seen it. There's already one, so you can find the handles there. Yeah. Do you want to add anything, Nanou, Adrian?
Well, thank you for watching us, and enjoy the festival.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for the festival to select us, because it's really, really nice to be part of it. And thank you, Claire, for taking the time. We also have a cat. Thank you so much for taking the time for doing this Q&A. We really appreciate it a lot.
My pleasure.